Hi, everyone.
Well, thank you for joining us and persevering through some slight technical difficulties.
Yes, well, it's so good to have you. Welcome to Parkside Live. Grab yourself a cuppa. I think you're in for a great conversation as we chat about seeing beyond circumstance. If you have a comment or want to make a comment as we're chatting, please use the comments. But if you want to leave us a comment later, if you're watching it later instead of live, then you can message us via our socials, comment on this or on YouTube, and we'll get back to you when we can.
Yeah. This morning I was having a chat with one of our kids, and we were talking about the challenge of making friends and working out who's a friend and who's not, and what's the difference between making friends and simply being friendly. And she was sharing her thought that a friend is someone who you've known for a long time. And I said, look, that can be good. I think it's awesome when you have people who have been in your life a long time. I've got people in my life that I have known for over a decade, like a long time. And if you're watching this, I hope that you have the joy of having some good people around you. And I know you're definitely a long-term friendship person. But as we were talking, I played for this song that I really like by a band, and the song's called For a Short Time. And there's a line in the song, and it says, sometimes you can say more in a drunken hour or so than some people get across in a life of lying low. Sometimes you can feel more for someone you've barely kissed. You don't see it at the time or the moment that you've missed. Now, there's a bit of a backstory, and it's written by a guy who was part of a touring band, met someone very briefly, and then had a great night and thought, I'm going to catch up with that person. And then 9 months later was approached after another concert in a different country and discovered that that person had actually passed away. And so it's about capturing that moment. And I think there's a lesson that, we can explore friendship in that. But as I was talking about that, as I was sharing about the fact that our lives are short, that all we have is a short time, I experienced this wave of emotion that stirred me up. And even as I was trying to make a point in this conversation, I was almost overwhelmed by the fact that I have one life. I don't know when it's going to end. And it moved me. It changed my perspective on today. And I think that's a powerful experience to have. To encounter something in your life that moves you, beyond yourself. And I don't know if you have a moment that you can recall where you have encountered something be outside of yourself that has moved you.
I mean, even just being moved by sometimes seeing what other people go through can have me, appreciating maybe like what I have in my life in ways that maybe I wouldn't have because I'm looking at, maybe the loss that other people feel. And so that can, change how I see then my world around me, or being diagnosed with cancer obviously was a moment of going with all the what ifs, and then I changed a few things in my life and went, this is my life now, there's no turning back.
And sometimes those are experiences that we have, but sometimes too it's something external that connects with something that is actually deeply within us. And as you're watching this, I pose you the question, when was the last time that you encountered something that actually moved you and prompted some kind of action? Prompted you to say, I'm going to be different here, to change my diet, to change your attitude, or to change your patterns of behavior. Because sometimes we can be just trapped by our circumstances. We can find something that is provocative encountering a moment and we can just throw our hands up and go, I feel overwhelmed. On the other alternative that we have often is just to insulate ourselves. Oh no, I don't watch the news anymore because one more thing in my life will overwhelm me. We're going to draw some inspiration from tonight from someone who was moved. And it's going to, I think, challenge us as human beings, but particularly as we're exploring what it means to be a person of faith. And so we're drawing here from this a narrative, the book of Nehemiah, chapter 2. And I'm just going to read a few short sentences here. And it says, earlier in the following spring, in the month of Nisan, during the 20th year of King Artaxerxes' reign, I was serving the king his wine. So there's a whole lot of stuff there that's going on, but some of it will become relevant to us a bit later. And then this is Nehemiah speaking, and he says, I have never before appeared sad in his presence. And so the king asked me, why are you looking so sad? You don't look sick to me. You must be deeply troubled. Then I was terrified. Now, so every story has a story, and this particular character that we're encountering is part of a group of people that were taken from their land. Basically, they had all their infrastructure wiped out, and these people were taken and been kept out of their land for around about 70 years at this point in time. And this person is being forced to work. He's got a privileged position. He's working in government here. So his job basically is to taste food so that the king of the day doesn't get poisoned. So there's some risk involved, but he's also living quite well. He's got food and quite good food because he eats some of what the king eats. He's got a roof over his head, but he's been taken from his land. And I want to just interject here and say, look, we are reading here and some of these names may match up, but I think there is a clear disconnect between the Judean people here, the Hebrew people here, and the nation of Israel right now. Happy to talk about that more, and please drop us a comment if you want to. But for our purposes here, this character Nehemiah has been moved to sadness. And not only just moved to feel sad, but actually he's making an appearance in a part of his life where being sad is not on. The king actually asked him, why are you looking sad? You don't look sad. And what was Nehemiah's response when the king asked him?
I can't remember how it was.
Yeah,
but
right.
It was, I don't know. I was just like, I've just got a mind blank.
He was terrified.
Oh, yes, terrified.
And
because you weren't supposed to show any of that emotion, because the whole history was like that in kings, they're so amazing and wonderful that in their presence there should be nothing but joy, really.
And so this is not just I got moved and I felt a bit sad, but he risked it. And what is it? Well, we're just going to jump back and I'm just going to read a couple of thoughts here because it's easier to talk about being moved. And again, there are some of us who, when we talk about being moved, your response right now is saying, emotions don't rule my life. Okay, and I think that's good. Someone wise has once said that emotions make a good engine, but not a great steering wheel. But that doesn't mean that we need to be emotional.
No.
And other people, we leap into our emotions so much that we're just tossed in this sea of conflicting emotions and we don't move because our emotions is knocking us from one place to the other. And what we see here is, I'm jumping back here, Nehemiah chapter 1, he says, in late autumn in the month of Kislev. And so if you remember our chronology, our previous time was spring. This is the autumn before the spring. So you're good at maths.
There's 4 months.
4 months. And if we're talking maybe 2 minimum, but 4 is probably a good thing. So 4 months prior, this is what's happened, is that he was at a fortress called Susa, and Hanani, one of my brothers, came to visit me with some other men who had just arrived from his home country. And he asked them about the people who were still there, who had returned there from captivity, and about how things were going in the city. And they said to me, things are not going well for those who have returned. They are in great trouble and disgrace. The walls of the city have been torn down and the gates have been destroyed by fire. And what we see next is not overwhelm, nor is it someone insulating them from themselves, but this character Nehemiah, when he heard this, he sat down and he wept. He was moved.
Yep.
And we are human beings. I think there are some things we need to have an emotional response to. We need to re-engage with. And if you are conscious of what is happening in the world, there are causes right now that we need to allow ourselves to be moved by. We need to let something reach deep into the very essence of who we are and say, this is not right.
Yep.
And for those of you who perhaps may have explored faith before, you may have experienced a faith that was defined by systems, a faith that was presented to you that said, we're going to put these external codes and laws in your place, and faith is just conforming. And I want to tell you that that is not how it is. That there's a writer by the name of Paul, and he says, faith is not a matter of righteousness, but a matter of joy and love, and actually the spirit of the creator of the universe enlivening who you are, bringing you into life. And if that hasn't been your experience of faith, then I want to tell you that there is a new way, that there is a new life waiting for you. A life where our lives can be touched by external circumstances, where we can be moved. Just like the example of this character here was moved. And he doesn't just allow himself to be moved, but it says right here that for days, he mourned. So this is not just spontaneous.
Yeah.
You know, if you ask people that know me, I can get excited by a new cause, and that newness can carry me on for 2 to 3 weeks. And then after that, I'm bored and I'll move on. Thank you for agreeing so enthusiastically. And perhaps your personality is similar, that you will jump with energy at something new before that novelty wears off and you move on. That's not what we're talking about here. Nor are we talking about someone who just feels something but doesn't move to action. But he actually then says, okay, I'm going to start to pray. And we live in a time where thoughts and prayers are mocked, and I think appropriately mocked. When something tragic happens and people go, we're sending thoughts and prayers, often that is a code for, I feel like I need to feel sad, but I don't want to do anything. And yet what we see here is actually the opposite, that this person was moved to the point where for how long?
4 months.
For 4 months, they held on to their sadness. For 4 months, they held on to this issue. For 4 months, they said, we've got to find a way. For 4 months, they were saying, this is bigger than me. Help me, help me. And I think if you're a person who's exploring faith right now, let things grow. God is at work, but it takes time.
Yeah. And that was the thing, like he sat with it, but he wasn't just sitting with it with himself. He was taking it to God, the only one who could have possibly done anything, because he was like, this is bigger than me. And so I'm going to take it to God, but like not just a once off. That's the thing, like, that I find amazing. You know, we can always have that short attention span, but he kept going. It's like 4 months, still waiting on God, whatever. He didn't go straight to the king.
No.
He prayed about it for a while and wanted to see, I guess, what God wanted or what plan was going to come out of it all.
Yeah, and when we get moved, we can be moved by a lot of things, but one sign that you're getting moved by something that is greater than you is that it is beyond your resources, beyond your capabilities. And here's this guy whose job is to taste wine, and yet he has this desire to see a nation rebuilt.
Yep.
And he takes it to a God, and I think it's exciting to believe in a God who brings life from death and who calls things that do not exist into existence. And I want to tell you that is not just words that are written on a page, that we've experienced the reality of that, and it's a bit more your story than mine. Do you mind sharing that story?
No. When I was pregnant with our twins, everything seemed to be going along okay, and then at one ultrasound there was one heartbeat, and it looked like something had gone wrong, and we had lost a twin. And so we went through a grieving stage, but we also took it to God. And I remember you praying for life to come out of this instead of death, and just asking God and calling forth that. And then a couple of weeks later, at a subsequent ultrasound with a different person who hadn't read the file or known the history, just nonchalantly saying, yes, I see 2 healthy heartbeats. And I was like, what? Excuse me? And it was amazing.
And one of our daughters is actually named for life, because we feel like in a situation that was beyond us. Like I didn't fully understand the situation, and I did not know how to fix the problem. I just knew that I could call out to God, and we did that. And he literally brought a heartbeat where there was no heartbeat. He brought life where there was no life. And I want to tell you that if you are moved by something, and you may be confronted by a relationship that you feel is dying, that there is a possibility of life. We may use the words resurrection, and yet the invitation here is to believe in a God who can call things that do not yet exist into existence. You may be confronted by a financial hardship right now, and you're at the limit of what you can do. And I want to tell you that there is a God who can bring into being things that you do not see right now. And when we look at this, when we allow ourselves to be caught up in justice in this world, and not just turn off news, but actually say, I'm going to fight for justice, we are actually taking a step of faith. It is often justice is not seen. We are very aware of the problem. And yet God says, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness or justice to move in. And we see that here. And then this all sets up this moment where this person has the opportunity, and the king says, go. He's sent, where the circumstances suddenly shift because this man allowed himself to be moved, because this person allowed themselves to be caught into a situation beyond their resources and beyond their capabilities. And we want to invite you to take a step of faith in your life. You know the situation that is confronting you right now. It may be the cause of justice, and you don't know where to begin. It may be a relationship, and you don't know the next step. It may be a financial stress. You don't know. We want to encourage you to follow this path that is laid out here and just say, Jesus, I give you my life. Give me your life. And you'll begin a process. And when you take this step of faith, for some of us, we will experience change and transformation in this moment. For others, like Nehemiah, it may take months. Don't give up. Don't let go. Hold on. If you're ready to begin that journey of change, of actually seeing something beyond what your circumstances are pushing on you, we want to encourage you to take a step of faith to begin to see an unseen kingdom that is at work in this world. And if you're ready to take that decision, then we're going to pray right now. Jesus, I give you my life. Give me your life. Jesus, I give you my life. Give me your life. And as you've prayed that, in the same way that as Nehemiah carried this sadness in before the king and saw the opportunity to rebuild a whole nation, may you see an opportunity for new life in front of you. We'd love to hear from you. Please drop us a comment.
Yep.
If you're watching on YouTube, drop us a comment there or send us a DM. We'd love to pray for you on your next steps.
Yep.
If you're coming through Southwest Sydney, we'd love for you to join us around this table as we gather with friends to discuss what it means to live a life of faith. Thanks for tuning in. God bless.
Bye.